coming to you live from the land of chlamydia-ridden koalas. It's time for Destiny Down Under.
G'day and welcome to the 124th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. My name is Log Power Slave. Question mark?
Ron Burgundy.
I had to look at the thing like at the corner of my eye. I'm looking forward to looking back at that piece of video and cringing my own face off. As always, I am joined by Mylan Games, the Lorgoon bag himself, and Real Time Sloth, the headless Viking. So we'll jump into, we'll go around the grounds in a minute and check in on how everyone's week's been because we've had some events happen. But first, I wanted to welcome our good friend Ninjyy to the show because we hang out with you a bit, but it's the first time you've actually come on. And that didn't dawn on me until literally just 10 seconds ago.
No, it's not. You've been on before, have you not?
No, that's the first time, I'm pretty sure.
We've not had Ninjyy on before.
Like one of your good friends that you never invite over to your house.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, have you not
been
seen
here
my
before?
new house yet? No, you've never invited me. Oh, fuck.
I've got a new kitchen.
about
Oh, well.
Oh, shit.
Well, there you go. Maybe we're just
Oh.
shit friends after all.
Oh, well, it is what it is.
So, Ninj, please introduce yourself. Make yourself at home. How you going, mate?
Good, howdy. Yeah, Ninjyy. Play video games.
Go all right, Adam. We were really professional with Ninj too. I messaged him this morning Australian time, and he's been awake for about half an hour. I got the message and just jumped straight in. So what an absolute fucking champion. So he can give us a little bit of a bit of discussion around, and Destiny ability and all that sort of shit. Actually being good at the game.
Let's talk about where we first came across Ninjyy. What raid was it? Was it
Last Wish.
Last Wish.
Last Wish raid, right? And your team was first to get to the what was that stage called with the keys?
We were the first to complete the vault.
The vault, right? Yeah, and that's how I sort of came to know you since then. So you've been on Twitch. How long were you streaming before that? You were streaming
Forever.
for a while or forever?
For a while, yeah. I started
Yeah.
streaming inconsistently back in year 1 of Destiny 1, but I started being more consistent like halfway through year 2.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. Well, I mean, thanks for coming on. Over half an hour after you've woken up, you're basically doing me, but actually better at the game. And probably, do you want to host a podcast?
Sounds good, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a lot of news.
I want to like interview our guest a little bit more before we go on if we haven't had him on, just to make sure.
If you've got
everyone
any
knows.
questions, Matt, if you've got any questions, go for it.
It's one of those
I
weird
think we
ones.
could just-
It's one of those weird ones because we kind of like, with anyone
No,
else,
if-
we kind of don't really know them all that well, and we genuinely are asking questions where.
Yeah,
Right, Matt, go. Professionalism, game
But I
face.
can wait. I don't. Hopefully, I can ask this. It's public knowledge. You went to the summit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so that was most recent at the summit. And what, without breaking NDAs, obviously, what can you say that you did there? I know when I went there, we could say that, we talked about these topics. You can't say the answers or whatever, or you got to play whatever. What can you tell us about the summit?
So specifically, I can say I got to play new stuff and I can give my opinion on if I liked it or not. So I can say that.
Okay.
And then obviously, like you said, we can talk about like I can talk about like things that I've said like before, like my ideas or whatever, like stuff like that. I just, like you said, can't say like Bungie's, responses or like our group responses, stuff like that. But yeah.
And who was there with you?
It was me, Glad, EK, I Have Toes, Lulu, and Shackles.
So that's a pretty like high skill summit. Like you're all in the category of like doing things solo, super grinding, like running things at like the pinnacle of each sort of challenge. That's like an interesting group to have. So obviously, don't have to say anything. I'm gonna speculate. There's obviously going to be some conversations about difficulty and for that sort of group of people. That's interesting to see that. And so, did you like what you saw from? You play Destiny every day, right? For a fair few hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I missed a day. No, I did definitely really enjoyed everything I played. So I'm excited for like the public to actually see what I got to see.
Yeah.
Now you and Glad and Shackle and Lulu, you guys didn't know that 0 hour was coming.
No, I had no idea. But I feel like if a summit would have known, it would have been the previous summit. But I don't think they knew either. I'm assuming Bungie kept that completely secret.
It came out of nowhere, like waking up on Wednesday morning here for us, which is like a couple of hours after reset, and people coming in and saying, there's a new dungeon, there's a new activity, there's a new end-game activity. I was like, what the fuck? Went on the Twitch. I was like, this looks pretty good. This looks promising. And if people follow Ninj or sub to him or anything, you would have seen that he has been playing it nonstop for the last couple of days, and as many other casters and YouTubers and all that sort of thing have been doing. What do you think about 0 hour, man? Outside of
yeah, I actually like literally said, like I tweeted this saying I genuinely think it's the best activity to date. I think it's the best thing Bungie's created. I think they took on, like Whisper, Shadow Throne, like those ideas, and they just expanded on that like endlessly. Like it's so fun. It's actually perfect in my opinion.
It looks really, really good. And Log likes to poke fun at me at this. I'll probably end up doing it about 3/4 of the way through Season of Opulence because I'm underpowered and I don't play Destiny at the moment. But it looks fantastic. And then, so I had the pleasure of watching Log's face the first time he encountered Trevor.
Oh, dude, that fucking thing, man. Holy shit.
Good. It's so good.
They must have been playtesting that part of it and just been absolutely pissing themselves about, like, just to unleash something like that on Destiny as a whole. And especially like that it's not the start of the activity. So you kind of, the first time I did it, we were running short of time. We were going to run out of time anyway, because I was still sort of learning the ropes of how to cut through the old tower really. And then you jump down into this thing and this creepy fucking refrigerator with a flashlight on top of it with like crab legs is just flying along obliterating people, and there's just no escape from it. It's kind of the fear of it wears off once you've learnt the pattern, but it's still it's not sort of. I want to know who made it. I want the dude's name so I can just say thank you, because it's one of those things.
Thank you, you fuck.
when you get killed, because I saw the tweets about it and T-shirts and stuff like that with Trevor or whatever they were posting on Bungie. Does it actually come up with killed by Trevor when you get killed by it in the death screen?
I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
That's
what I thought originally.
Architects.
I think it
it's
still
architects.
says architects.
Oh,
But
okay.
you're-
So that's
that's
You
such a
die
shame.
and you're spectating it, you can see his name. When you're
Oh,
spectating like your teammates.
okay,
you
so
can
he
see
does
his
actually have a name.
It does show
Okay.
his name. Yeah.
It's
Wow,
it's
that's
TR3,
fantastic.
right? Then like dash
dash VR.
VR.
Yeah.
So this another thing. So you touched on it there before. Like you're going through the old tower. We spoke about this, and we have spoken about this at length. But Log a couple of weeks ago was saying we need to utilize some of the old content, and in some parts they do. Like the seasons have been in their own little bubble, if that makes sense. They don't really interact with the other situations of it. But you go back to the old tower, you see the destruction that the Red War has wrought upon it, and it's really like, it was obviously the asset was already there, but it's really good that they're using it again.
Oh, I think it was to an extent. This is like just the first part of it is that first mission, right? Like you basically run it backwards, and then it's once you get to the platforming stuff, it's really just it's like its own thing from that point on. Like I don't know. I mean, I find it really interesting. Like it's kind of a breath of fresh air as a piece of content, because there's so much like being on the outside of the wall in heroic mode, and like skirting around the outside of the tower, and you're in this massive skybox, and it's like you feel like you're just literally clinging to the edge of like I don't know, the fucking tower. Really,
you're quite literally walking on the wall. Like you go down and down and down, and then during the heroic part, you're walking on the wall. You're standing on drainage holes for the wall to get around it. Like, and you look down, and 500 feet down. That right there is fantastic.
You
It is
know
utterly
what
fantastic.
I just think about is that part of what made this really great was no one knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And I feel like the reason why that's even better is we often don't get those moments in Destiny because people fucking leak it or they data mine it or something like that. And I actually think we would have more of these kind of conversations and more of these amazing moments if stuff wasn't leaked. And obviously they do their best, and there's issues with people getting hold of stuff and giving it away. But I think this show sort of shows you the power and the benefit of like when something is truly secret and it just gets dumped in the community and they have to solve it. I think that's like one of the pinnacle experiences in Destiny. And that's why raids are always a pinnacle experience, because it's like, here's this problem, you have to solve it, and very little gets sort of leaked. But there's lots of other little bits and pieces like event wise that I think would really be bumped up if we could. I don't know. There's no solution there. I'm just saying, like, it's cool to see something that was so secret and come out and to see the reactions. And I think a reflection that it's a shame that we don't get that feeling more often because people leak stuff.
I think the positive that we can take out of it is that no one knew at all what the weapon was that we were going to be getting out of it, or that it was, like everyone sort of had been for a while having a guess, we're probably going to get another dungeon at some point, like the Whisper of the Worm one, what's it called? And, we'll be, it's not like it was outside the realm of possibility, but it coming now. And the fact that no one had any warning and no one knew what it was about at all, I hope that that's Bungie sort of putting better processes in place to protect content before it comes out.
Yeah. I
think so. I hope that,
We're sort of drifting away from the topic, which was Ninjyy.
Sorry, bud.
Ninjyy, what if people haven't come into your stream before? Obviously, you're playing a lot of this sort of event right now. Like, what would people typically see like on your stream? What when they come to watch you?
Little bit of everything, to be honest. I'm just a completionist at this point. I just do anything I can in the game. I have almost every single triumph, all the seals. I raid a lot. Sometimes even play PvP.
Yeah.
PvP. Wow.
Let me tell you something I see in Ninjy's stream when I do end up going in there and saying g'day. Cool people, great music, chill vibes, and good conversation about Destiny. And takes it. Most people, like, if you don't have like a complete dumb as fuck opinion that doesn't make any sense, a good conversation. You guys should go check him out. He's a good dude. Really good dude.
Just watch out for Chook while you're there. Chooky hangs around there a bit.
Yeah, he does. He does make an appearance. You got to just kind of ignore him.
So we put up with him in the hours that you're asleep, man. You can shirk him off somewhere.
You can take him for a bit. You can take him for a bit. But
is there anything you didn't like about 0 Hour, Ninjyy? Or do you think it was all fantastic?
That's such a hard question. I think it's all fantastic. This is no secret. I don't like pulse rifles. So, like, the Outbreak Prime is a very cool weapon. It looks beautiful. The concept of it is cool. But the fact that it's an exotic primary kind of just... Primaries aren't that useful when they're exotic. Like, they're just not that strong.
What did you want? Another hand cannon?
No, sometimes I have no idea. That's the thing. That's why it's a hard question. Like, 'cause I actually don't even care about the reward at that point because the activity is so fun to do.
So you think the activity itself was
was perfect. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, this is the thing. So we'll talk a little bit more about 0 Hour. We'll quickly touch on the 12 before we go any further. We'll talk about 0 Hour. Talk about the new raid, the upcoming raid for Season of Opulence, and some more bollocks after that. But this week at Bungie, 9th of the 5th, 2019. We've obviously got 0 Hour. But Season of Opulence getting raid ready. Starting June 4, 2019, Season of Opulence kicks off for all players of Destiny 2. Many of you are familiar on how raids launch with new content, usually on a Friday at reset. This season, we're doing something a little different. Owners of the annual pass will be challenged to conquer a new raid on day one. Here's some context for the new plan and changes for the upcoming power climb. From the dev team, the world's first race for a raid is a competitive event. Hyper competitive, I would actually say. Probably a little bit too much so, but that's just me personally. When the reason why I say that, it's people have taken it like it's, instead of sharing the knowledge, people are so focused on getting first.
Yeah, but that's the fun of it. That's the fun of it, man.
We'll dive into that in a minute because we've got Ninjyy.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll lend some weight to the conversation rather than just the three of us talking about shit that we don't know anything about.
Yeah. So it's a hyper-competitive event. The raid is a challenge geared towards testing a fire team's ability to learn and execute on the mechanics, as well as their ability to overcome enemies and bosses together. Having a short window of time between release and launch allows us to preserve the combat challenge for players making their attempt on day one and get people playing the raid content right away. So Crown of Sorrow, June 4th, 2019, 4 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Recommended for the first encounter, 715 light or 715 power.
4 p.m.
Did I say a.m.? 4 p.m.
So.
Pacific Daylight Time. 4 p.m.
Magical made-up foreign country time.
Yeah, what the fuck? Let's just go with Australian Eastern Standard Time, can we, please? Fuck off, Matt.
Why don't we go with Australian Western Standard Time and just
shut up.
Capture more of the audience?
Now, this is an interesting thing that a lot of people, it's from what I've seen, is quite divisive. The people at the top don't think so as much, but the people who don't have the annual pass don't think it's very, very good. But here we go. Last Wish and Scourge of the Past will be unavailable until Crown of Sorrow has been beaten. This prevents players with a stash of ethereal keys for having a leg up in the raid race. Prime attunements will be reset to 2 charges per character on day 1. While characters build prime attunement charges over time, these are being set to 2 per character upon logging in after the new season begins. All level 50 characters can earn prime achievements after signing in and playing during the Season of Opulence. All players may continue to build prime attunements over the time after the reset occurs. As a reminder, any and all powerful bounties acquired prior to the Season of Opulence will have a power cap of 700. For additional information, please check out the Cleaning House link in the TWAB. So we're 4 weeks away from Season of Opulence.
Crazy.
Pretty cool.
I don't understand the prime attunement thing. Do you guys know what that means?
So do you remember just before Last Wish that people were stacking prime attunements, and now they weren't?
Isn't prime attunement the buff you get to get more prime engrams?
Yeah. So the more prime engrams you grow, the more powerful,
how do you stack
the higher
it?
your life.
I thought it's just automatically when you log in.
When you pick it up, it takes it away. So people were like leaving tons of prime engrams on the ground.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to fix that, though. That's what I'm kind of confused about, because it says you can only get 2, but if you don't pick it up, does it know that now?
Oh, okay.
That's
So
a very good
you
question.
have the prime attunement buff, and then people weren't picking up the prime engrams, so they just kept getting powerful engrams.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then like there was a negative to it, and so basically if you did that, it was like smart enough to know that it'll screw you in the next
long
day.
term. That's right.
Yeah, but like people didn't care about that because they were trying to get as much possible light on that character at that time.
So what does it mean now that prime achievements will be reset to 2 charges per character on day 1?
So you can only get 2 engrams.
2
that's
powerful
character.
engrams
Yeah.
On day
per
1.
character on day 1.
Normally you can get like 7 if your character's been chilling for a bit, which most people do.
Yeah, because how long is the cooldown? Because I didn't really notice. I didn't really know the details of that.
That's a very good question.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea. Normally, like, I know that if I don't play a character going into a new DLC for like a couple days, they stack, like it gets super crazy, and I can get like 7 on one character. But then it resets the next day. Like
Okay. Sorry, now I get it. I didn't realize that if you could leave your character idle.
Yeah, it builds it up.
And it would just build. Okay.
Jeez, imagine how much fucking shit you pair are going to get.
So you can't
Yeah.
just let your
So
guardian
basically-
build build some cobwebs and build
Yeah.
up all these buffs and then log in that. Okay, all right, great.
Basically,
Yeah, I
they're
get it.
just trying to cut down on as many powerfuls as you. They don't want you to be overlight, is what I'm getting from that
Yeah.
statement. They're
Well, I
trying
mean,
to
I feel
prevent
like they
the
want
amount of stuff you can do.
They want it to be an even playing field too.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, like as long as people don't figure out a way to exploit, which I'm sure people will, because Destiny community, if there's one thing that the Destiny community is good at, is figuring out a way to exploit power increase. Most teams should be around 705, 710 power for the first encounter. And let's see how it goes. Hopefully, I really hope that this raid is a lot longer than Scourge of the Past.
So first, for someone who does a lot more raids than I do, Ninjyy, what do you know? What is the typical power increase between encounters in raids? So the first encounter is 715. Do you know off the top of your head?
It's normally 10, I think, every encounter.
Right. And when does it get to you don't do any damage? How many levels above?
Like -50 or something. It's
Yeah,
Okay.
it won't be
a
that.
lot. There's no
So
way
do
that
you
could possibly
think-
happen.
So you think this raid will be people will be able to go in after getting a couple powerful engrams, get a little bit over 700, whatever loot they get from the first encounter, that will get them through basically, but it'll be really tough. So it's
Yeah.
sort of standardizing
Yeah, I genuinely
what
think
power
that
level.
they're just trying to get more people to be able to go in right away, which is smart.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of funny things on Twitter, people complaining like usual, but I've seen specific
Understatement
tweets
of the year. I've seen funny things on Twitter.
I've seen people like say like, oh, they're just catering to the hardcore players again, blah blah blah, and it's like, no, you idiot. This is literally the opposite of that. This is literally for the casual players. This is to let
Yeah.
way more people be able to do the raid.
Yeah, like as someone who didn't have or couldn't set aside a week to sort of grind or whatever to prepare for
like
previous
straight
raids.
away. Yeah.
Like now I'm thinking, actually, all I need to do is just make sure that my character's at 700 before, the new raid comes out, and I could actually have that experience with everyone. And I'm not going to get world's first, but at least we could probably get a team together and actually go in and experience it before all the guides get posted and before everyone knows how to solve all the puzzles. And that to me has always been pinnacle experience of Destiny. So I'm actually pretty happy about it for sure.
Yeah.
I think the only people who are genuinely seriously disappointed are the people who would have
Aren't happy
the
with
time
anything in Destiny.
who have the time to sit there and power level for a week or whatever, or numerous days to give themselves a distinct advantage over anyone else trying to do it. Now, like, that be that as it may, that's if you're going to give people the opportunity to do it, they're going to do it. I kind of like that at least they've done something different this time around, whether it works out in the long run to be great or not. I think that something needed to happen to find a way to even that playing field. And it comes back to what Matt's saying, in that, like, if you don't have those days, if you like, I'm at work, I work full time, so I've got no hope of being able to sort of power level in the interim, I think it's good that I'll be able to jump on and, like, I might not, I'm sure people are going to go out and spend their 6 hours or whatever it is before it launches going around picking up every fucking engram they can, right? Like doing all the weekly reset shit and everything else. So I might be a little bit behind, but I'm not going to be 15, 20 light points behind, or power points or whatever they are these days. So I think, I don't know. I think in that front, it levels the playing field, and I think that's really, really needed at this point. That, and I think that the hardest of the hardcore players are gonna probably, it'll be a little bit more challenging. I don't think we want another Scourge of the Past kind of launch where it was blasted through in, I don't know, what was it, like an hour or something?
Two and a half hours. Yeah, it was terrible.
It was pretty underwhelming.
Yeah,
so
I'm getting feelings that this will be very similar to Last Wish, or no, was it Last Wish that went for really long? Oh,
Last Wish went for well, nearly a day.
Yeah, and the what was the Leviathan
Spire of Stars.
Spire of Stars as well.
It should be like that because it'll be short. Obviously, like people should not expect this to be like the size of Last Wish. That's not possible.
Yeah.
But so it'll be the size of Scourge, the size of Spire, but we should be under light, and that's the whole point. That's what makes you not be able to
Yeah.
just burn through it. And for example,
Yeah.
Scourge of the Past's boss fight by the team that beat it. Again, still all credit in the world for them beating it, but they ignored the mechanic because they were so overlight. They didn't even do the mechanic that you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
They
that's
completely ignored it.
we can't have that.
And that's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's
problem.
basically breaking the exercise before it's even been completed. So, I mean, if this is the way to negate that, I do think like we're always going to end up in these situations where not everyone can be on at the same time. And like living in Australia, seriously, everything launches at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So we cop the rough end of that stick more often than not. So it's just one of those things that's tough titties, and you got to, I've seen a few people from Europe chucking the shits about it, and I just kind of chuckle to myself and think, suck eggs.
Oh, you could have the time perfect for Americans. Okay, cool. You could have the time perfect for Australians. Cool. If the time was perfect for the Europeans, someone would fucking complain. If Destiny community will always fucking complain. It's a flat Earth. Australia doesn't exist. Oh, fuck.
It's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. He's been playing too many medieval games, and he's just a rage monster at this point.
I mean, at the end of the day, like this raid should be really interesting, and I'll be tuning in and watching whomever I'm going to watch, and see how long this raid is, and see how people deal with the challenges. Should be good. Should be good.
Ninjyy, I want to pick your brain. And maybe you want to reveal what you're going to do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But can you give some advice for someone who's very much on the end of the casual stick now when it comes to actually playing Destiny? Maybe not when it comes to reading the lore, but when it comes to actually playing the game. Is this something I should be going and doing all my bounties first? Do you think that's the best strategy? Go get your dailies and all that kind of stuff done, and then sort of mosey on in, or do you think just jump straight in? I would advise?
So again, there's a 6-hour period before the raid starts, so they are giving people a chance to get closer to 715 because 715 is a big gap from 700, and it's going to get bigger the longer you're in the raid. So they're giving people to jump in. So obviously the ideal way to do this is you have all 3 characters, you start on the character that you're not going in, and then you do all your powerfuls, then you get switch to your second character, move your guns over, do it again, and then finally you'd be on your third character. That's the ideal way. Again, I don't know how much you can do in 6 hours. I'm talking even for myself, it's going to be a lot. Like, you're going to have to be going as fast as possible because you don't want to miss out on anything. You want to get as high as possible. But that would be like the ideal way. There's no trick to it. They even locked out the raids, like you said, which are huge, powerful rewards. Those are big jumps. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, there was someone, I'm not going to give away who it is, but one of our friends actually said, actually, you know what? I'm not going to say that for the sheer fact that it will give people ideas on how to exploit the raid. I'm going to keep that to myself, and I'm not going to say that on the podcast.
200 IQ, big brain sloth.
Look at that.
But no, I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do that because
that's a shoe in for world's first. After that, he's just no,
absolutely.
I'm not telling anyone.
No. Fuck, I'm not. So that's another thing that I wanted to touch on as well. Is now I was in your channel when we were unlocking what was the last forge? The Goot? No. What was the last forge?
We're doing Niobe Labs.
That ever Niobe Labs. That's it. Yeah, Niobe Labs. And now you did cop a lot of flack. I saw a lot of people in chat very upset about this, muting yourself and talking to your team about strats and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You did cop a lot of flack from the chat from that.
Really? Why?
Well,
because it's like a community thing, and you're supposed to share all your secret insights. This is what I was alluding to before.
Now, I don't have any issue with people muting stuff or hiding stuff from the community. It's a hyper competitive thing, and it's something that you can hang your hat on. Hey, in Destiny 2, I was world's first here. I did this there. Like, it's a big thing. It's a huge thing.
I mean, if they're going to dish out belts, man.
If they're going to dish out belts.
I mean, this is what I was saying last time, and this is why remember our comments when they first started doing things like the jackets and rewards, and then the titles, and I said the more official that Bungie becomes involved with Worlds First,
The
and
more
it's less,
competitive it becomes.
the more competitive it will be. And this is like, it's like any other competition. Then it's like any other sport. It's like any other thing. There's now a set of rules in place. They've standardized it, which is the same as saying no fucking steroids, guys. All right, there's no performance enhancing drugs, which means you can't stack your primature engrams, right? And now we're trying to level the playing field. And the reality is there is a big payoff behind achieving some titles. For example, some people might get increased following on Twitch, and they might be able to maybe spend more time streaming and quit other jobs. Or there might be things about, for YouTubers, it's like if you can get a guide out first, you potentially get a really big bump in audience. So there's definitely like benefits to that, and that's why I have no issue in the spirit of competitiveness. That it's part of the game now, and once it's done, I don't think. Fuck these people.
And don't get me wrong. I wasn't trying to have a go, mate. No, I wasn't trying to have it. It's more pointing the things out that people they're putting. Oh, sorry. They're putting. People put a lot of. They put their hat on it a lot more, if that makes sense. They're putting a lot more into it. There's a lot more to play for now. There's a lot more to play for.
Yeah.
I think the best way to sum it up is to say, like, in a lot of shit in Destiny, and especially like with quick play, the fucking sweatiness of quick play at the moment, and we're always sitting there going, for fuck's sake, like, we're not playing for sheep stations. It's not pink, we're not racing for pink slips. We're not fucking, there's no real prize. Like, why are people behaving that way? This is the exact opposite of that, when there is a fucking carrot. There is a title to be had. There is, like, it's you can't be naive and think that, like, I mean, look back at Last Wish Ninja and how big that was for you in terms of, like, the growth of your channel and all that sort of shit. It's big bickies. It's, it allows people to grow, and it's a huge shot in the arm. And I think that, like, we need to be a bit more receptive of that as an audience. Like, you're not going to be able to, there are parts of the ride that you can't come along for, like, it's kind of the behind the scenes, if you want to look at it that way.
I think with Bungie getting a little bit more closer to, like, standardizing it and being more involved with rewards of it, I actually think people are probably more accepting to the competitive nature on it. I actually think we'll get close, because I think we were in a transition stage between something that was really just community fun and, like, the community just started doing stuff like, hey, I got Worlds First. Like, that wasn't something that Bungie was, like, acknowledging, I guess, from, like, a competition standpoint. But now I feel like they've got a foot in the game. And I think when you start doing that, then people are like, oh, well, it is a competition now, rather than just being a community thing. Well, now it sort of is a competition.
Well,
right?
I mean, then the onus is on you as a content. Then the onus is on you. And again, I'm not pointing the finger at you, Ninj. I promise you that.
I don't think that's where you were going. I think we were just talking about that.
No. But what I'm going to say here is
just Sauce trying to be a good bloke for once, Matt. Just let him fucking go.
The onus is on the content creator. If you Ninj. If you don't want to share it, that's on you, and more power to you. That's fantastic. That's your choice. If someone who's out there, let's say, I don't know, Jay Sniperton, and he wants to share it with the world, that's on him. More power to him. The world's first title, as long as it doesn't end up being monetary rewards from Bungie, I think it's in a good spot at the moment.
Never will.
Well, you say that, but then there's monetary rewards coming in from that Belong Arenas competition that just ended in the
really?
In the UK.
That's supported by Bungie.
I believe there was a monetary
they're not stumping up
there.
the coin for it. I don't believe it anyway.
They're not. But this is the thing. Like, the more that they move into that, I don't want to say esports, but esports-esque scene of offering monetary rewards is when it'll go too far. Does that make sense?
I was wondering when we were going to get to doom and gloom.
It's not really doom and gloom. It's just like, I tweeted this out the other day. Bungie have made, from my personal experience, Bungie have made some critical mistakes that have stopped me from playing at this point in time. But I'm always going to jump back into the game to test out the new things and see how we go with that. I want Bungie to make the best Destiny that they can make. I'm paraphrasing Log here. But I want Bungie to make the best Destiny they can make. And as long as they don't go into that esports scene and drag in the toxicity of the monetary competitions.
I don't think we're going that way, man. I really don't.
I don't, honestly, I don't think it will go any more than what they've done now. I think this will probably be the standard, which will be, we'll make sure that there's no real exploits. We're trying to level the playing field as much as possible.
Exactly.
And then there'll be some cool rewards for everyone who does it day one, for everyone who does it within X amount of time. And we will acknowledge world's first, with a belt or whatever they want to do.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it'll go more than that. But I think that will be enough competition as well. I think that's enough to sort of get people in the mind that it is, it's a race. It's a race. It's a race. It's a world's first race, right? So
It's a race. It's a race.
It's a race.
All right.
What the fuck is going on in this podcast? What is that about?
I don't even know. It's weird.
Do you not know that?
Have you? Do you not? It's a race. I'm winning. I'm winning.
It's Mr. Bean, man. What's his name?
I can't remember.
What's his real name? Mr. Bean, anyway.
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So moving on with the TWAB, Iron Banner's back 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, May 14th, and it ends on May 21st.
Hold on a second. I feel like we just all talked around this subject, but someone who probably has the most insight into it, like Ninjyy, what's your thoughts?
Sorry.
What's your thoughts on the leveling the playing field, and I guess any comments you have around like streaming world first racing and all that?
I'm listening.
I love the attempt. I don't think it's perfect, but I wasn't expecting any. Like, this was actually a big deal. I think them announcing all of this was very, very big deal, and it shows that they're open to change. They're open to, trying to make it better for everybody. And obviously, Scourge was, I don't want to, not a disaster, but like it got beat super quickly, and it was unfortunate, especially like as someone who like created that raid, dude. I feel like they had to have been like, oh crap, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like our raid just got beaten way too short. So yeah, I think that this is a great thing. I don't think it's perfect. I think that they can continue to work on it and make it better. But I also think that this was like very last minute. I don't think this was been planned for like 5 months or whatever. I think that this is something that might have been put together within the last month.
Well, I mean, if they had play testing, right? Because that usually happens last. So maybe it was a result of some play testing of the raid, and they're like, hey, this is going to be a Scourge of the Past repeat. We might need to put some mechanisms in place to make it a bit more exciting. Yeah,
100%. That, and again, I think the community has spoken on Twitter specifically and on Reddit. Like the hardcore player fan base have been saying, like, please, like, do not let Scourge happen again. Like, get rid of keys, get rid of all this stuff. And I think this was Bungie's response of, yep, we're listening. We want this raid to be fun. We agree. Like we see exactly what you guys are saying, and we want this to be better. So I think this is a very, very good first attempt. And I think, like, the next big DLC, the next huge raid we have, which, most likely will probably be in September like usual, I think that there'll be a better system in place. I think that they will actually perfect it, hopefully. Also, something that a lot of people haven't said, this is the most advanced they've ever told us about a raid. I don't know if people even like put 2 and 2 together. Normally they tell us like a week before, oh hey, the raid's coming out like in a week. This is the 3-4 week, in advance, giving us a date and time.
See, I think that's also part of the competition aspect of it. Is like, he's of the rule, like, so
book in your annual leave day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly for that reason.
I know.
And so he's giving everyone, it's trying to make that level playing field for people who are either, playing, who are streamers for a living or content creators for a living, or who just play it in their spare time. Is trying to sort of level out all that field, just give you as much notice as possible. So these are the rules. If you want to have fun and you want to take part in this race, here's how you probably should prepare as well. Book a day off You know,
Just imagine.
I mean-
just imagine if there was another LFG bus driver group that just for shits and gigs just won it, and were like, holy shit, we got world's first. Wunderbar. Like,
I
that's
think that's
fantastic.
much more possible now.
Yeah.
And I think this race is going to be uber competitive for that reason. And I think that will be a really, really good thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna completely sit it out, but I'm gonna sit here and just watch streams all day and just listen to The Distance by Cake on repeat. Just just fucking for however long it takes. I don't care. I'll soil myself if I have to.
Absolutely.
I guess that comes back to the other thing, Ninj, is like last time we saw, not with Scourge, obviously, because it was bowled over so quickly, but the other part of the raid race thing that we've discussed in the past is the 24-hour epic kind of last wish saga that, where it was everyone. I don't think anyone expected it to go on quite that long. I don't even think the folks at Bungie really did. So
they wanted to go home. They wanted to go home, man.
Fuck
They're like,
this.
can you guys fucking finish?
Can we just check the VODs in the morning and see who won? Fuck this. And then they get in the next morning and everyone's still going. Do you think there's a sweet spot, man? Like if you had to have a punt at, obviously 24 hours is the long end of the scale. Where do you think that like a good first attempt at a raid, where do you think is the ideal amount of time? That I know that's a fucking incredibly
probably
loaded
like 8
question.
hours, like a day's work. I feel like is that sweet spot if it takes them 8 hours to fit the first team to beat this. I feel like that's a pretty sweet spot because there's a lot of raids that have been around that spot. I feel like a lot of the D1 raids were between like 6 and 8. I think.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that if they can hone in on how to get, obviously you've got the variables of how long it takes everyone to figure things out and whatnot. Like once the mechanics are all worked out, the difficulty then is just a light level. But I think that like with Niobe Labs, and obviously it's something that we look back at now as not the greatest of events because of the bugs and all that sort of shit that went on. But I actually thought that the whole getting behind like you and Glad and the guys that were really at the coal phase trying to work it out, it went on way too long. But if that only went for 8 hours or 6 hours or however long, I thought it would have been really fucking cool.
Thing.
Yeah. So
people kind of ended up hating on it.
Yeah.
Because it took so long, like it took like 3 days or whatever. But yeah, I agree with you. If it took one day, if it was just like that 8 hour period, people would have said more of this. This is amazing.
Yeah,
and this is a me thing personally. After managing people for so long, if it's any more than 15 hours, that's when a lot of casters and a lot of content creators, they want to get it done to get the clicks, to get the views, to get the people in. But if it's longer than 15 hours, that's where your mental health really suffers and all that sort of thing. And that's the thing that I really sort of worry about when it's
definitely
24-hour streams. I'd hate to yes, I'm the doom and gloom person today. Hello. Hi, my name's Adam.
What do you mean today?
Well, go fuck yourself. But 24-hour streams or working for 24 hours plus is not good for your body. It like people have legitimately died.
Do you see like 24-hour streams and stuff? I don't know. A lot of the big streamers these days shy away from that sort of stuff, and I think rightfully so.
They do,
so
this is the competitive thing that I was sort of alluding to before as well. Because it's so competitive, people will push themselves to the absolute limit and then some
when someone
just to get that win.
Who do you reckon the first person in the Destiny community to get a catheter and a shit bag for the fucking upcoming raid race? So it's going to get to that point. Hey, you can only be in our top 6 team if you're committed enough to get a catheter.
You gotta wear a diaper.
When I was working in a hospital as an occupational therapist, I would have had a stock of those little like chairs that have got the bucket in them that look like a chair, but you just like you lift it up and there's a bucket in the bottom. But we give them to old people who can't get to the toilet during the middle of the night, and it just looks like a chair, but really there's a bucket in there. Like I could have send you a care package, Ninjyy, of bucket chair and a fucking and a pee bottle, right? And you can just take that bad boy on and then fucking away you go.
I don't know.
Ready?
I might be going out on a whim here, but I'm pretty sure taking a shit whilst like on the camera on Twitch would be against terms of service.
Might be, yeah. Might
Just
be a
a
bannable
blank expression on the face. Just
just
You got a shit bucket. You go to the bathroom. You're not playing Battlefield.
I reckon it'd be heaps
You got
less
yourself
work.
a gamer.
It'd be heaps less work just to set your fucking rig up in the shitter for sure. Just at least then you can just reach behind and give it the old flush and keep going. You know what? Actually, going back to the more serious point, I think that if they can get, I mean, it's obviously always going to be an unknown, but if we could get, I guess the point I was trying to make with Ninja's expectation around what he thinks would make a great raid race and tying it to a more community-wide effect, like in this instance, we're not going to see, people aren't going to be able to do Last Wish and shit until this raid is done. So if it's 6 hours or whatever, and then people can go in and like do that sort of stuff to get their level up quicker to then revisit the raid for, you know, the peasants like us who are shit at the game and need all the help they can get. I think it's a good thing. I think that it'll truncate the attention of the community into, you know, like people like Ninja and Glad and the other people, you know, math class and all those guys that are at the coalface and trying to get this shit done first. I hope the one thing I'm really hoping is that they weren't cruelled by what happened with Niobe Labs, because that was like, there was so much that went on with that was negative, but it was negative, but that far from being positive as well. So I don't know. It's probably not a popular opinion. There'll probably be someone tweet me and call me a fucking idiot, but that's fine.
So before we move on, Ninja, did you have any other comments when we were talking about like the competitive nature of the race and specifically, I guess, in your scenario of streaming it and what you share with the community, what you don't share? Like, do you have any other thing you want to add to like that conversation?
not really. I mean, we pretty much hit on everything. I completely agree though. Like, you know, 24-hour streams, very unhealthy. Like from own personal experience, you know, with the Last Wish, I mean, we quit because we couldn't continue. We were so exhausted. And like for the older teams, you know, like, and I don't look that old, but my team is a little bit older. You know, me and Jugs are not 16-year-old kid.
Jugs is an old man at this point, isn't he? He's going to be a dad later in the year. It's an exciting time for all of us. It's good.
Well, I mean, outside of Matt, you know, we fully understand that.
I'm not that much younger than you guys. I know
You're
what.
fucking 28, cunt. Leave it.
Just give out his
Thanks
full.
for taking a couple of years off. Beautiful.
You're 30.
Dude, I'm 30, mate.
Wow.
Oh,
no,
well,
it's all downhill
30,
from there.
yeah. You
No,
old
not a grey
bastard.
hair either. Look at that. All natural.
Oh, you haven't got a grey hair, but you've got a fucking forehead.
Jugs is in
All right,
chat.
so-
Jugs is in chat, and I know that he was umming and ahhing about whether this was going to be his raid fucking race swan song, and his missus is due to give birth 5 days after. That is, dude, you're in the danger zone. You were right. You're gonna have to just.
He wasn't gonna raid until the news.
You're just gonna have to get onto the better half, mate, and please cross your legs for a day or so. Just we're gonna get this done. Smash out the raid, and then fatherhood. You'll be fine. Raid's probably harder than being a dad.
So Destiny 2 update 2.2.2, which will be coming on Tuesday. That came this Tuesday, just gone. They fixed an issue in which combination blow was unintentionally magnifying damage on the Arcstaff Super. They fixed an issue where Warlocks were unable to blink after going through a teleportation portal. Maybe they should just remove Warlocks from the game. That'd be okay with that. Fixed an issue where Chaos Reach would not deal damage to enemies affected by other status effects, such as Thorns, Soul Devourer, or Hunter Tethers. Fix an issue where Actium War Rig would prevent auto rifles with the Grave Robber perk from being able to generate Masterwork Orbs. Fixed an issue where Vestian Dynasty could not be masterworked. I didn't even realize that was an issue. There you go. The more you know. Fixed an issue where Dreaming City Lore was not being awarded when completing an Ascended challenge. Fixed an issue where Collects Vex samples. Objective in the Zer bounty.
Oh,
The tower
Wait.
could not be completed.
wait, can we do the Zer bounty now?
Yes.
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 Shit, I gotta go.
Wait,
Shit.
you actually missed it.
You missed it.
You were supposed to do it if you had it. I mean, you'll still do it again because he's already here now.
You're a
But you
week
were supposed to
behind
do
now.
it before he returned because now you'll be behind by a week.
Lore Master, by the way.
Wait, but you couldn't get the Vex samples until they finished it.
But you
They
could
fixed
have
it
the
on
bounty.
Tuesday.
You could have the bounty and then carry it into the next week, and then they fixed it, and then you
Yeah.
could do it before
They
he
Yeah,
came
fixed it on
again.
Tuesday.
No, but this is the last one, isn't it? This is the 9th.
No.
No, this is the 7th. There's 2 more.
Fuck me dead. All right, guys.
Dude, I
delete
just-
my channel.
Dude,
Unsubscribe.
Ninj, can you come every week and just shit on Matt's streams?
Yeah.
This is fucking delightful.
Honestly, let's be hiding in the background.
Wait, so does that mean I'll miss that one that they glitched out?
No, you'll be
No,
able to do
so
it. It's
you'll
just
just
you're
be
a
on
week
that
behind
one.
in the progress.
Fuck,
Yeah.
so I missed. Yeah, damn it. So
Welcome
what
to my
happened?
life.
Tell me.
No, you
tell me.
can still do that one. Like that one doesn't disappear.
Yeah, I know, but
He
what
wants to
happened
know
this
what
week
happened
then?
because he has to put little videos out about it.
I haven't done this week's yet.
Oh, what are you fucking good for then?
Oh.
Oh! Wow.
He's been playing too many
Wow.
video games with me. He's becoming fucking toxic.
Oh, he's not the only
the
one.
real Mylan.
Oh, we can get
Fix
onto
an
that in a
issue
minute. Sloth, you just stop with the issues. Is there any really important ones? I don't think.
Not particularly. No. Basically, if you want to check it out, they're talking about emotes and ghost shells and all that sort of thing. It's all in the patch notes if you feel so
The
inclined.
combination blow was the only one that mattered.
The
That
other
one was game breaking.
Yeah, it was rough.
Mhm.
The other thing that came out of the TOB this week was Polar getting the honourable mention for the Baby Shark Gambit cover and learning the lesson that I probably should have primed her up for, in that everyone on YouTube is a peerless god musician that records no music whatsoever and and just spends their time making mean-spirited YouTube comments.
Dude, that's the internet.
That
Doesn't
is
matter
the
what
internet.
subject it is. They know better than you. They can do better than you, and you do not deserve any attention,
Do you know
any
what-
views whatsoever.
Do you know what I've done with every song? And I've been waiting for someone to shit me off enough that I do it. Is them go, you can't sing. And I'll go, all right, here's the fucking track with no singing on it. You sing, cunt. And then fucking come back to me. Here's the track. Go and do it. Go on. Go and do it.
Go on, go.
And if it's better than mine, I'll put you on my fucking songs from now on.
And then we've also got with a mix of Reveler's Tonic, armor swapping, Arc Strider tomfoolery, and a cheeky teleport, Tazis has a soloed Riven,
Wow.
which is absolutely insane. Like even if like the combination blow was a bit funny and all that sort of thing, and the Reveler's Tonic and all that sort of thing, that's insane. Like, that's big claps to that particular person. So congratulations for Movie of the Week, and also congratulations for Polar for Gambit Shark.
No. No. Oh, you.
There is an Outbreak perfected wallpaper on the
That
12
looks
as well,
cool.
if you feel so inclined to grab that. So with 0 Hour coming this week, I saw that you were talking about this on your stream on Thursday, Matty. But there was
Oh yeah,
there's some lore. So it all
yeah. I forgot.
relates back. It all relates back to the enemy of my enemy quest during that you get from Sloane. That is related
Yeah.
to the Rat King.
Yeah.
And if you kill the knight without killing Mithrax, it continues the quest. Or you're like Log, who had to do the quest line again because he killed Mithrax and then killed the knight.
Man, I just saw
such a
bad
cool,
people.
like-
I just saw bad people, and I thunder crashed the both of them, and that was the end of it.
Everyone did. I Nova bombed it. That wasn't found until like quite well after.
And I remember
think,
when it first came out. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was just getting strike footage, and the reason why I didn't shoot Mithrak was because I wanted to get, I don't know, a thumbnail of the Fallen or something like that. I wanted to get like a high res, and then all of a sudden he like didn't shoot you back. I'm like, oh my god, I've discovered an Easter egg or something like that. This never happens to me. And it's really cool that that's been in there for forever. Basically, Mithrak doing you a solid, letting you take the methane extractor or something like that, and bowing to you, and now he's reappeared in the Lord tab for Outbreak Perfected. So I might quiz you a little bit on this too, Ninja, because I haven't done the mission, but the Lord tab basically says that Mithrax is going to dress up in the House of Devils colors in order to sabotage the House of Devils plans to break into the tower and steal Siva. So we obviously see Mithrax in the mission, right? In the farm.
Yeah, he's your initiation point.
He's just hanging out on the farm.
Yeah,
So
he's wearing in the corner.
He's wearing the House of Devils colors, right? He's got the red colors on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then how does this sort of end? Is he the one who gives you Outbreak Perfected?
I think, and then he teleports into a
skiff.
A skiff, yeah, that's shooting at you, which is kind of confusing. I guess that's because he's in disguise.
Yeah,
right.
And it's a weird one. Like literally every time he has popped up at the end of that mission too, I've just wailed on him. Because he does appear there and there's another fucking captain's come out of nowhere. Fuck. Yeah.
So the implication is you get this from your old vault. That's sort of the implication of.
Yeah, it's sitting in the vault. Yeah.
So is it meant to be your old Outbreak Prime, and they've sort of just renamed it?
I think it's like the Cryptarch. There's all Cryptarch symbols. I think they've kept it on the down low, and it was just happened to be in one of the parts that didn't get blown up. And Rahul, being the dodgy piece of shit that he is, didn't tell anyone that it was there.
So have you been to the Drifter after you've done it? Have you seen that?
No, I have not actually. I went to him beforehand.
The Drifter gives you some new dialogue once you've finished it, and he talks about
really interesting.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones that I'm pretty sure it's one of those ones. You know how it seems like you should get a pop up for a new mission, but nothing happens yet. Like it's almost time gated or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that thing. He's like, it has like a mission name which is called Rumor Mill, and there's a bit of dialogue and there's some audio, and he says, "Oh, I heard you broke into the Cryptarch vault and got something out. Let me know if you're going back there." And you just press OK, and then nothing.
I mean, the irony is that literally everyone's been back there because it's just basically running it over and over and over again.
Yep.
That if I missed it because I was zoned off in the distance, I do apologise. But that's a very valid point. Jug says the Drifter says to keep in mind that you head back to the old tower, but then you've got the key cards.
The one?
The key
for
cards.
the
go
schematic,
back.
the secret thing. Yeah.
There's a key card for the somatic, and maybe there's some sort of implication there that the key cards can get something that he wants too.
Yeah.
So maybe in 5 weeks' time, when everyone can fully unlock was it 5 weeks to get the masterwork?
It'll be
I think
3
it'll be
technically.
3 because you get the progress to 33%. I think.
Yeah, when you do the ship schematic for the week.
Yeah, so 3 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks he might come in and say, "Hey, there's as Ocelot said in chat, maybe there's a fucking raise light wants to slice up shacks." I don't know.
I'll tell you what, if we get another weapon drop every week out of just bring back a few things out of the vault. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's all going to be tied to.
I don't think it's going to be.
It'll be like a Siva-ish ship and a Siva-ish whatever else and all that sort of shit. It'll stay on the theme. But yeah, that is a valid point. I did that this morning with Nick and Sass, and I didn't really. It's not the kind of thing that you can stop to smell the roses with the schematics. I'm not sure if there's any lore on them at all. I probably should have had a quick look, but my attention to details shit. So there's that.
Well, the cool thing about like introducing Mithrax back now is he is in direct contrast to Varix, basically. So he is a very much a fallen character who really does want to be aligned with humanity. Unlike sort of Varix has always sort of played both sides and switched sides as needed and sort of switched sides again. Mithrax even has a new house that he has coined House of Light or House Light, as in almost like Guardian Fallens. So it's cool because I hope this is predicting Varrix's return because I freaking love Varrix. He's a really
Same.
awesome, complex character. And,
So
I hope we see some sort of Mithrax versus Varrix, sprinkling a little bit of Siva, and that might be somewhere in the future.
Where do you see that Siva arc going, Matt? Where do you reckon it ends up?
Oh, yeah.
Because I picked a fight with a non-pig, which is pretty dumb of me, especially given it was about law. What do you know about law, you fucking dipshit?
You pleb.
Do you see Siva coming back into the story, or do you think that this is sort of a nod to something that we're past now in the terms of the game, and like maybe Outbreak Prime or Outbreak Perfected as it is now will be sort of the last we see of it?
It's one of those things, right? It's I'm sure there's a really good like comic book analogy here, but it's one of those things that's like uber powerful, and if we ever got control of it, it would like solve all of our fucking problems because it is a nanotechnology that basically can build anything, and if we could get hold of it properly and program those directives, like we would just rebuild civilization basically. Like it was used during the golden age. So it's one of those things that I think, if you it's one of the things you can't really get to a resolution because it's sort of like I win. Like that's how I feel about it. It's sort of like, well, I win now. Like I've got Siva, I can do it. So I feel like it needs to sit with someone like Rasputin that's like, maybe I'll give it a little bit to you, maybe I won't, maybe someone else will have control of it. Like I don't know if there's something that I win button in a comic book, someone's favorite comic book or like movie, it's sort of like this uber powerful thing. No one will ever get control of it because it just breaks the whole fucking narrative.
Or they will, and it's the end. Like,
and then it's there. Yeah, All right.
So that's a very valid point from Jugs as well. Is that
I might put the chat up on the thing now.
Yeah, go for it.
So we'll open the floodgates. If you've got questions, whatever, points to bring up, things you want to discuss, go for it. Hey, Les, how you doing,
man? So Rasputin, end of the Warmind DLC, Rasputin is there. He's going to protect whether the Vanguard likes it or not, more or less. Siva coming back in Destiny 3 or what if there is a Comet release in September, it's going to be the secret to shooting down the pyramid ships, and Rasputin might have a way to take control of Siva, as it is just a tool. It is a tool to be used. It's not a sentient thing by the looks of things. Or am I wrong there, Matt?
Sorry, I was going to say it's a tool. Yes.
It's not sentient.
I did make a highly speculative video on Siva becoming sentient. I cannot remember the things I quoted for the evidence of that, but basically, it's always operated as someone needs to program its directives, which is the replicate. The simulate, replicate. What's it called? Oh man, there's all the
simulate, replicate,
eliminate, immunize. There's a whole different bunch. There's like three different.
The anti-vaxxers won't like that. The immunize. Ooh.
They won't like the immunize. But there's a bunch of different directives over Destiny's history that has changed what Siva has been doing, and it basically keeps doing that until it goes on. There is, I can't remember which cards they are. It was a video made a long time ago that maybe evidence for Siva becoming sentient and controlling its own directives, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. That would be one way to take Siva so it's not like the I win button, is to let it be independent of anyone controlling it.
I think if it ends up with Rasputin, I think it's still in that sort of thing because he's kind of this unknowable figure or
neutral force.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like he said, oh, okay, and he did his big fucking thing, and now he's just pissed off. Like, where is he? What's he up to? What's going on? But I think that it sits logically with him because I don't know. I mean, it is a kind of technological thing, right, to begin with, but also in that he isn't necessarily allied with us. He's something that is created that is seen.
I don't trust him.
I mean, I kind of do now, but I never used to. I don't know why I do. Maybe
He's
I just
not-
like that song, but
He's not allied with us. He's not allied with us, but he is allied with Anna Bray, and Anna Bray is allied with us, but not the Vanguard.
Mm.
That's how I see the end of war.
so Rasputin is Anna Bray's really big, mean, technologically advanced puppy dog.
Imagine if, like, at the end of Destiny, we got some sort of end game kind of thing where all these elements all came together to, like, Siva, Rasputin, just dump all the fucking.
I was
Toland,
saying
just
that.
all the fucking the Exo Stranger, boom, just an
Elsie Bray comes back into the mix. We've got House of Light. We've got fucking
just wrap everything up
Just
into
everything
everything.
versus the darkness.
And then the whole world's fucked, and then Saint 14 just jumps back in. I wasn't dead, bitch. Just having a nap.
That's a valid point. So I mean, and then so with the start of 0 Hour, you got Mithrax sitting in the basement in the farm, and you walk up to him, and there's just a shadow of a captain, which is probably one of the better introductions of a character I have seen.
Yeah, that was cool.
In the
cool.
Destiny universe. He's just there, and he's just like, oh shit, that's one of the people, one of the things that have been trying to kill me for the past 5 years.
Mhm.
Turn the corner, he's like, sup, like that is probably one of the best introductions of a character I've seen in this universe.
It's pretty hard to get past that instinct of, like, you recognize something as fallen and not shoot it. Like, I guarantee you when you do that mission, he'll pop up at the end and you'll fucking unload on him because
he pops up at the beginning and I still shoot at him every time.
Yeah, true. He's killing the drag.
Yeah.
He's oh no, hang on. Every
my
time,
bad.
man. He's so underappreciated, Mithrax. I'm so sorry, man.
I'm the more we talk about it, I really want to see some cutscenes with fallen allies and like interacting with guardians and that kind of stuff.
Well, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because I've learnt this. I learnt this from you, Matt. You've got the Fallen who had the Traveler but lost the Traveler.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they followed the Traveler to get it back.
Mhm.
Varix is doing his own thing,
Mhm.
whatever he does.
Mhm.
And then you've got the darkness. You've got the Hive. You've got everything else that want to just wipe out everything, wipe out the Traveler and all its beings. The Fallen don't want that to happen, so it is darkness. And then you've got so the Fallen and us or Mithrax, House of Light, and us may have a very rough partnership to beat back the darkness. But what's going to happen after the fact?
No, I mean,
What's
that's
gonna
the
happen
question. You can make it
If we
same.
help if we help
Credits.
Mithrax bring the clans, bring the houses, the fallen houses together, and then it's all powerful.
There will always be like syndicates and people that are like, no, we're losing our tradition. There's a really interesting like lore tab that talks about how the new generation, this is the same one that talks about the House of Light, how there's a new generation of fallen who are actually seeing the effects of I guess genocide, not really genocide because we didn't intentionally wipe the fallen out, but there's a new there's a young fallen generation that are not seeing the tradition fallen ways because there's been so many changes to their like tradition and culture. And so there's a young generation of fallen, which is actually, so maybe it is going that way. There's a young generation of fallen that's set in this card that are more likely to align with humans because they don't have that strong culture and heritage that they would have had if they were on a different planet or not scavengers or, were aligned with the travelers still.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I do think we're gonna. I mean, we've already seen it to some extent with the Spider and the Spiky Boys and all that sort of shit.
We
right?
have,
Like,
yeah.
So I don't think, and that was pretty well received at the time too. Like, it was pretty novel, and I don't think it would be a bad thing to see that sort of stuff pop up again. I don't think we're ever gonna get to the point of like having fallen playable characters.
Oh, I know we won't.
I think
but
that's
really,
a bit too far fetched for me anyway. But who knows? I mean, I don't fucking know anything. But
can you just imagine a game type that was like one fallen captain versus like 4 guardians or something, and it was just PvP or something, PvP, PvE, and like one person gets to
stop.
like King of the Hill sort
It's
of
King
deal.
of the
like,
yeah. It's just like Halo, King of the Hill.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, and or a bit like Alien vs Predator. So maybe you're a fallen and you only got sword, but you got 4 arms and you got the cloaking device, right? And you you got to hunt down the guardians and whatever.
Yeah, valid point. Valid point from Ambus 4 in chat is that it's very well. It takes us. It takes. It makes. Well, it's not really makes references, but it takes inspiration from the Arbiter and Chief quest line. Arbiter and Chief from Halo.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool as well. Ninj. Post in September, the Activision Bungie split is completely done and dusted. Bungie would then be a independent developer publisher. What do you envision, as someone who's been playing Destiny for a very long time? What do you envision Bungie doing? Are they going to take a few months and move on to Destiny 3, or are they going to have a Comet release in September or after the fact? What do you think is going to happen?
You don't have to answer
Big
that
question.
if you don't want to, man.
Yeah, big
That's
question.
an incredibly
like
fucking
theorizing,
loaded
obviously.
question.
I hope that Bungie just pushes the game in the direction that they've always wanted it to be, because I don't think they always had that option. I don't think that they didn't have the final say, and so I think it's blatantly obvious that Bungie truly loves their game and is super passionate about their game, and they've been trying to show that specifically since Forsaken, with constantly talking with us and being a part of the community, not just being this like dad up here like they used to be. Now they're actually like involved with everything.
Yeah.
All of the game. They are super involved with the summits, with okay, the biggest thing I saw was last year when Deej kind of stepped away from being the community manager, and he hired 2 other people. Like he took 2 other, Cosmo and DMG, and like look how active they are with the community. It's actually insane. What they do with the community is amazing. And so I think that that's Bungie's way of saying, like, we want to be not just the dad, we want to be a part of this game and a part of the community. So I think that is just 100% going to be what the game is becoming. I think it's going to be everything they want it to be. No more 2 steps back, 1 step forward, or whatever, that thing that they've always done in the past. So that's my hope for the game, and I think that's what they want to do as well.
Yeah. This is for all of us really now. Log and I have spoken about this. Matt and I have spoken about this. I don't think we've spoken about this in an open forum as such, but
this could be anything. What is it?
I always get nervous when we
it's not. It might be a bit of a loaded question, but it's not something that's completely left field. Nick and I were having a chat the other day. Bungie's. Now, this is from a business perspective, and I'm absolutely 100% speculating. Are they making any money? Are they making any money on off of Destiny at the moment? And will they do a September release, or will they wait until post Christmas and go into Destiny 3 to make sure that it is 100% ready to go, and this is the new version? Because there have been rumors floating around on NeoGAF, Reddit, and all that sort of thing that they might be trying to bring the game over from Tiger Engine onto Unreal Engine. Allegedly moving from Tiger Engine onto Unreal Engine. These are the rumors. Now,
if I'm playing a game on the Unreal Engine, I better be stabbing something with a fucking sword and not playing Destiny. That's all I'm saying. Because to be honest, I don't think the Unreal Engine, and there'll probably be people triggered by this, I don't think the Unreal Engine in a million years will ever have the gunplay that Destiny has.
Agreed.
I
don't think it will either.
Flog it to death. So I find it hard to put any weight in that. Like maybe people have dabbled with it, sure. Maybe it was investigated. Maybe it was, it would have been a feasibility study or whatever. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that they would go away from their own engines, that they've worked, I won't argue the fact that Destiny's probably due a engine overhaul, but I think that like for
I
them
don't know,
to
man. The game's fucking polished as it is.
no, it's not about the polish. It's about the underlying
it's-
mechanics. You know, like it's about the way it works and communicates
how
things.
quickly
and-
How
yeah,
quickly they
it's-
can make
yeah,
changes.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's
an
true.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valid points from the chat as well from Drifter and Jake Lay Summerstone. It probably won't. We won't see Destiny 3 until the new console releases. Minimum.
You reckon?
But
That's
another thing
When?
that
Good news. I'm already
Another
on the
thing-
new console. It's a PC.
but the other thing that sort of at least had me a little bit, well, not concerned, but thinking about the Unreal Engine a bit more is because Epic making all of these movements, big movements in the video game industry for exclusivity and all that sort of thing. That has something that like they want to grab hold of something that is a moneymaker to get back some of the money that they've just thrown at the video game industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that from the outside looking in, we're never going to get an understanding of. And
No, exactly.
It's
100%.
like trying to like, you know, the other part of the question was like where's Bungie getting their money from right now? Like that's shit that you and I and you know we can speculate, but I don't think that it's particularly pertinent for us to do that at the moment because clearly you know they're not going to fucking up and disappear overnight because there's long-term plans in place. So good faith that they've managed that, but I think that we're going to see a another full-blown release come September. No. I don't.
No.
I think
Okay.
we're going to limp on. Oh, I shouldn't say limp because I think that the content's actually getting better. I think there's
is 100%
there's a
getting
fine tuning process going on with the seasons, and like while it pisses a lot of people off, and it's pissed me off to some extent that you know like season of the Drifter was so gambit heavy, and I'm just fucking burnt out and over it and whatever, and we're not seeing the kind of vendor resets and all that sort of shit that you really see with we'd see with the old bigger expanded DLCs and stuff. I think there's a tuning. This is like a tuning period. This is, you know, Bungie going through some fucking upheaval in the separation from, you know, Acti and all that sort of shit. And they're going through figuring out how they can deliver kind of perpetual content. You know, like they're trying to answer the hardest possible question really in terms of gameplay and game development is to how do we keep our game going indefinitely without it getting boring.
I mean, that's why
how do we serve every tier in the community all at once? And it's, you know, like I think they're definitely learning a lot. And if you look at 0 Hour and things like that, how quickly, you know, in the grand scheme of things from Whisper till now, you know, it's been a while, sure, but this, if they can take this concept and it can be one of the kind of like, I mean, we briefly spoke about it with Ninj before we went live, in that like if there was a quest like this for every planet in Destiny at launch, and it kind of kept giving like this seems to do, you know, like there's the normal mode, you go through, you get your gun. All right. Now it's, you know, there's layers and layers and layers on top of that and things to go in and reasons to do it. I think there's absolutely a case to be made for they're trying different things, and we're going to see a refined version of that when we get to Destiny 3 or whatever. But I don't think we're at that point yet. I think we're probably looking at another 6 months to a year after Opulence ends. So that's a long time, really, when you think about it.
Here's a tie-in, right? Just to bring it back to something I forgot to talk about, D3 and where the storyline's going. I mean, the next raid's called Crown of Sorrow.
How did we get an hour and a bit into the podcast without mentioning the name of the raid?
I don't know. I just thought to myself, we haven't even literally talked about the greatest fucking reveals because that
lore implications, man.
A lot of things, right?
Well, sorrow.
Lore implications.
There's a huge, you know, sorrow is a big word in one part of the Destiny fucking lore, right?
I mean, this has to be a hive raid. I mean, that's what people would say about it.
But the Crown of Sorrows and Season of Opulence. What is opulent? Callous.
Yeah, man. Opulence is that's this shit, man.
Yeah, like he's if you're happy and you know, like you know, like it's so yeah. Sorrow, Weapons of Sorrow.
Books of Sorrow.
Are we is Books of Sorrow, is Callus calling on us as a shadow of Callus?
to fight the hive.
I
To
honestly,
fight the hive.
I honestly don't know how they're going to link Callus with the hive. That's going to be the
It's
coolest
very
thing, man.
cool.
Maybe
I'm not
he
too sure how
stole
they're
their
gonna link them
giant
together.
gold fish. Maybe they were after the pet fish as well.
The Leviathan.
Give me back my fish.
You motherfucker.
So this is the only, just off the top of my head, the only loose connection I can put between both of them. And it has something to do with the 9. And it could be all leading towards this thing, right? Because we know the 9 are crowning all these champions too, right? Like the Dredgen and the three people who have faced judgment and been perfected and all that kind of stuff. And we also have a sneaky suspicion that Callus has actually came in contact with the 9 as well. So there's a bit of a link there. But we also know that we know what the 9 are now, which is this dark matter in this other not parallel universe,
It's
but
like another plane of existence.
not plane of existence, right? They're primordial gods in a separate plane of existence that want to enter our realm, essentially. But also floating around in there was Savathun as well, or Dal Inkaru, her daughter. So she's got access to that realm, linking her to the 9, and we know Callus might be linked to the 9. So is this all going to be a play of like melding the 9, Callus, and Savathun into one storyline, and its pinnacle narrative is the raid?
Phew.
Wasn't there also, like, to backtrack a little bit, we don't know who did it, but we found out this season with all the lore that we've gotten that somebody was behind Gull. Someone actually caused him to happen.
One of the 9
speculation is, yeah. Because like we see that like Gull was like basically pointed at us. Like it wasn't like that wasn't actually coming from him.
Yeah, so the very last entry of there's 2 books. It's either Ectasis or it's Dust. I can't remember which one. One of the 9 books.
I think it was in the Dust one.
Was it the Dust one? And the very last entry basically says there were 2 factions within the 9. And the reason why they are so interested in Guardians is that the light is non-causal, and it could be the key to them escaping their basically what do we call it before? What did you say? Not parallel. Other plane of existence. Other plane of existence, right? That the light might be useful for that. And so one of the 9 assisted Gaul basically by using dark matter to block our senses, which is why we never detected the Red Legion, because they wanted to see if Gaul could capture and manipulate the light, because if they could witness that, maybe they could work out how to use the light and enter our plane of existence. So one of them did do that.
Right.
Wow, what a motherfucker.
Yeah, there's tons of act. Well, then there's you brought up for a second. You said like the 3 crowned. They don't say who it is, but like people theorize one of them was Callus, one of them is.
It was what was the names of them? So one of them's the Drifter.
It was like something of a coin, something of a.
There's the knife. The knife is one of them, isn't it?
Yeah,
people think that
the Forgotten Blade. The Forgotten Blade sharpened anew.
Yep.
And
the knife.
What was the first one? It was the Endless Patience or something like that. The hourglass with endless patience.
That's a reference to House of Wolves. What was his name?
Skolas.
Skolas, Mara, and someone else, I guess.
Well, I've revisited the Skolas one. I actually think it's closer to being. I actually think it could be Varix. Actually, there's actually a lore tab that I got from an on-pick that everyone pretty much forgot about, and Varix basically meets the 9, and it didn't make sense at the time because we didn't know that Season of the Drifter was going to dump all this like 9 lore on us, so it sort of just got left to the side. But essentially, Varix meets the 9, and they're like, "This is your only path now. You begin anew." And so the Forgotten Blade sharpened anew. There's obviously a connection there, or there's a bit of word play or a little bit of word connection. So there could be something interesting about. Well, this is what I speculated before Siva came out. I said Varix is going to go through the 3 keys of the 9, which is judgment, death, and then perfection. And when I was thinking about perfection, I think of Siva. Right. So now we could have like a Mithrax Varix battle getting to Siva perfection.
Because in that new lore book, that's not new, but it came with this season that talks about Siva and Mithrax. It also references like our 2 potential allies, and both of them are Varix and Mithrax, even though they're not allies. And obviously Varix is still, we don't know if he's an ally, but it seems like it is. It seems like he is at his core, but he kind of, I mean, technically he was responsible for killing Cade and other things. But
yeah, I know this one you're talking about. They talk about the separatists and the integrationalists. They list Varix and Mithrax.
Is this too far of a jump, Matt? But maybe they're talking about the perfected, and they're going like the House of Light wants to team up, like they want to understand and be with the Traveler, but to be perfected is to integrate themselves with Siva, and maybe upon fucking Axis tried that, but went insane. I don't know.
I was just going to say, do you reckon we're going to get to the point where we get Siva and just go, here you go, Fallen. This what went so well last time. I can't say that.
I mean,
so many questions.
Mithrax definitely, like, in my mind, is now up there as being one of those candidates, especially if he worked out some way with House Light, because that would put him in a very worthy position in the eyes of the 9 to be one of those people, one of those beings, and that's why they picked the Drifter, was because the Drifter is basically playing with the darkness like no one's business. He's like
the gray area guardian.
Yeah, he's like controlling the darkness, controlling the Taken, using these pocket universes, and they're like, yeah, that's pretty handy. You're worthy. So
from all of this, are we basically just a tool for the 9 to be handed around to these beings to get what the 9 desire?
Yeah. They often speak that. They often say that the 9 don't understand life and death, right? They don't understand the reality of our world, essentially, because they are gods. They can't understand what it's like to live and die because they don't have that thing. And I sort of made the link to being like, I don't know how else to explain it, but gods wanting to feel the emotion of human, like gods looking down on humanity and being like, yeah, there's pain and suffering, but when you have pain and suffering, you also have love, joy, and all those kind of things. And we can't experience that in our world. So we want to give up our godship and, be mortal. I'm sure there's some Greek mythos around some story like that, but that's my impression anyway of the 9.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I mean, there's and as we've stated before, and as I said on the top of the cast, like the content is not tying together immediately. But the content is like the lore, especially, is starting to come together, and there's so much that we, as the consumers of this product, don't understand. It's really fucking cool to hear, like, to sit here and chat about it and see people's different takes on it and all that sort of thing, which is really, really cool.
So
I like this. I like this a lot.
So like next week, is it the last entry for Truth to Power?
Yeah, that's going to be fucking interesting.
What if something else fucking drops?
Yeah, I mean, people think that, the curse could technically end. There's a lot of things that could happen next week that we have no idea. Something secret could happen next week. Something.
It's got a link to the Crown of Sorrow. I'm sure it's got to give us a lead in to the Crown of Sorrow.
Like, what if the dungeon changes? Like, what if we actually kill Don Carno for real this time? Like, something else changes.
All I hope
and then
is
Savathun gets the shits, puts on a crown of sorrow, and is like, "You fucking coming to get you?
Stop killing my fucking daughter, you bastards!" Like shit like that.
You killed me brother. You've killed me daughter.
Oh, mate, this
And
is a.
And people forgot, like, where's Uldren?
Where?
Annual
they
leave.
introduced him. He's coming. Like, where's he doing? What's he doing right
I'm
now?
telling you, man, we're gonna get like an end game DLC. It's just gonna bring everybody in.
Shows up in the tower. Shows up in the tower, and Shax just pulls out this great fucking sword and goes, "What?"
Yeah, I think everyone's
That's
hoping
where the
for that.
raise ladder is. Shax just pulls it out and chops him in half.
You know that scene. You know that scene from Men in Black where it has that alien that can regrow its head and
He just
stuff.
blows its head off.
Interrogating it. And it's like, that's for Kane. Head regrows. That's for me. Head regrows. That's for the.
That's for not saving Mara at the
It's also
fucking battle
perfect.
against Oryx.
It's also perfect because in the movie, you remember when he shoots him in the head? And he's like, "How did you remember that?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know his head grew back because it could be the same concept. Like we didn't know he's a guardian yet. We're killing him."
Oh, that's really cool. And that's another question as well, Jugs. I mean, what's the 15th wish?
Yeah.
What is the 15th wish? What is it?
All right, we can all have a guess because by the time we go live
Well, we
next
know
week,
what the
should
name of it
fucking
is.
know,
We
right?
just don't.
What is
we
it?
don't know what
What's the name of it, Pinch?
Crap, I can't remember.
you shouldn't use the term we.
But
I was trying to find it real
this
quick.
one you will cherish.
Yeah.
This
that's
one you
what it
will
is.
cherish. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Oh,
Okay,
That's-
I'm gonna go with Ambus's
People
point. in
thought
that,
that like since day one when they data mined it, people thought it was bringing Cade back to life. Like that was like the initial guess. But
Yeah,
I
but
think
the thing
that
is,
that doesn't make any sense.
the Kara are like, the genies that manipulate wishes. So when I read that,
Yeah.
I read it as
It's
ironic.
Aldrin.
Yeah, it's
It's
ironic.
Aldrin.
This one you'll cherish, as in like it's completely ironic. Like you won't cherish it. It'll be
Yeah.
a complete dick move.
Yep.
oh, this is a
if you read everything bit of dialogue coming from an Aham Kara with like a sarcastic tone, this one you'll cherish.
oh wow, this is really freaking cool. I'm excited. My excitement for the game has never died, but it's been rekindled.
You know what I would love to
after
see?
just chatting today.
Once we like get some conclusions. God, maybe we should reach out to narrative. Well, I can reach out to narrative. Like, can you please show us? Like, once everything's been resolved, can you show us what the fucking spiderweb story design board look like with everything
Right.
linked
Just
together?
red lines
Just show
everywhere.
us like how you fucking what's that
And
meme?
there's-
He's like
yeah, there's-
he's like the numbers and everything's like
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
There's
It'll
literally
end
so
up-
many
it'll end up
storylines
like-
that are just halted in a circle, just like we're waiting for them to all like where's Osiris, right? Like there's so many things that have just kind of stopped. We're
What
waiting
if
for them
we
like,
have to
show
go
up.
back in time to fix all of this? Or maybe I've just stolen that from another very, very popular movie at the moment. Never
mean,
mind,
Osiris-
moving on.
Osiris controls time in a sense, doesn't he, with the Infinite Forest?
they'll just be like nothing happened after the Infinite Forest. Everything post Infinite Forest was a simulation, sucker.
Stop that. Stop that right now. Holy shit.
You're giving Sloth a fucking panic attack.
Speaking of, at least in my channel and speaking of Log on Wednesday and all that sort of thing as well. If they were to utilize the Infinite Forest as a free DLC for like a free upgrade for a free DLC for people who own the season pass, would you be behind the old raids remaster in the Infinite Forest? We have to do a certain quest line to get access to each raid. What's your?
I think it has to
What's your
be
take?
like when they gave the awesome armor pieces when they brought back Volta Glass and Crota and all that. Like, give me some dope armor. I'll be in there, sure.
Are we
What-
talking about
what do you reckon?
remastering the D1 raids?
Remastering the D1 raids
Okay.
but through the simulation of the Infinite Forest.
Here's the thing
i.e.
about that.
Hmm.
Of course, I would love to play the old raids, specifically on PC, but would I want them to waste time and money and effort making old content new, or would I rather them use that
True.
same money
Yeah,
and that
that's the
same
fucking-
time on brand new content?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
See,
point.
this is like I think a lot of people sort of forget about that. They look at the old content with rose tinted glasses, and it was like the old raids were really good, but they were really good because that was our first introduction to raids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you
I'm
could,
sort
let's
of-
just say you could only pick one to be remastered, which means you'd be able to play it on PC. What would be your top pick from Destiny?
Crota. Crota.
Crota.
Crota.
Oh, okay.
My all-time favorite raid before Last Wish, just because people joke about it. They call it a strike. They say it's easy. It's not technically. It's not technically easy.
Everyone
if you
chases
are
it.
getting, you're always getting carried by one really strong player. That's a fact. Like one player can beat that raid, but they're very good at it. That's why they can beat it. But like, I just have so many amazing memories. Like that was my first technical raid. Like I did VOG, but I didn't do it at blind. I didn't do it at launch because I had kind of stepped away from the game. Crota was the first raid I did blind, and I just have hilarious memories of him, like, you know, coming into Crystal Room and killing you and just shit like that that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, yeah, so I love that raid.
I think
I want to change my answer.
I
Actually, I want to change my answer. I want to
What's your
Kingsfall.
answer?
Kingsfall without the connection issues that we had on Xbox.
Oh wow!
God,
yeah,
the
it used to
connection
be-
issues were so bad.
It
The
was
raid
real.
was so good though. The raid was so good though. Kingsfall. Yeah,
Hmm.
I would have to
I've
say
always
Kingsfall
been
if
an
they weren't to do it,
advocate. I've always been an advocate for Crota. I don't know if it would be the one I'd bring back because I don't know if I can put it above Altar Glass, but
Yeah.
the way that you feel in Crota, like going into the hive and being chased by the hive through the lanterns, was like is probably in my top experience of Destiny because we went in blind. Everyone was just screaming and giggling and just absolutely
Yeah,
like
you're slowing down. You can't
and-
move. Like,
and you know, you turn
Oh, I fell
around
in
and
a
you see your
fucking
friend
hole.
just, you know, just literally get clawed, and then you're like,
Yeah.
nope, sorry. Fucking
Run!
You know, you'd be
Yeah,
like,
without the
I'll never
cheeses,
leave
that
him.
raid is phenomenal.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll never leave you behind, and then you're like, nope, sorry. Fucking
Crota was one of the Crota for me personally was one of those raids. When I was first doing it, I cheesed the fuck out of it. I soloed the lanterns by using the explosion cheese where you get up on that rock, it explodes, it sends you to the bridge. I did the cheese where you get out of the map to get the bridge to spawn. I did that, and that was the point in time for me where I just said, I'm not going to do any raids. I'm not going to cheese any more raids anymore because it just made it. That's why I don't like Crota as much as the other ones, because I know that I didn't get the full experience of it by doing it properly.
But I also loved, I agree with like Ninja's comment, as I loved that there was the role of the who's going to wield this sword. Like,
Yeah.
I really do dig that mechanic where it's like one
Yeah.
person holds up, like whether you win or not, or whether you lose, and there is
Yeah.
something special about
Who
that.
in this 6-player lobby has the biggest dick? I mean, for us, it'd just be Sass, you know, you do it.
And then, and VOG has a special place, at least for Log and I's heart, because that was the first drunk raid
Yeah,
for
that
us, and that was
that was something.
that was messy. That was fucking messy.
I-
Go
yeah,
to Log's
I mean,
channel, go check it out.
I don't know. I don't know which one I'd bring back. Actually, truthfully, I don't know. I'd like to say VOG because it's the OG raid, but I don't know if it
Yeah.
would be VOG. I think I'm kind of with Kingsfall. I think I could probably go Kingsfall. Or even Wrath of the Machine, I think would fucking. I really like that raid.
Was so good.
I really
was
like
so
that raid.
good.
So I don't know. I don't think we're. Look, we've just about name dropped
hard-
every raid. So
Yeah, he said all of them.
we've got no answers.
did
Don't
we-
come here for answers, just questions.
Did we touch on this, Matt and Ninja? Relaxed Claw. What purpose do you guys think the Fallen Transponder has? Thank you for the question, Relax.
One of two
With-
things.
Okay.
It could be as simple as it's literally a map to solve the void configuration. Because no one's okay. So I feel like people haven't figured this out yet. No one's actually figured out how to do the void configuration. We just brute forced it. No one has actually figured
Okay,
out how that works.
I don't know what we're talking about. Can you?
Okay,
please?
so in the heroic version of the new activity, 0 hour,
Mhm.
there is a another thing. You remember like the Oracle thing in the Whisper mission? How you get the ship?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So
Yes,
in
yes,
Zero
yes,
Hour,
yes.
there's an other thing,
Okay.
and it's called a void configuration. You pick it up, and you have to find 3 keys, and then you have to do this thing with these. It's hard to explain, but there's a bunch of these like panels in the room right before the boss room. You have to do 49 combinations. It takes like 10 minutes. It takes forever. You have to do that while doing the heroic version. And no one's actually solved how you figure out the combinations. People just brute force all 49 of them because once you get one, you check it off. That's how you do that one. And then they literally brute force. It took them 2 days to do it. But Raid Secrets and Vlad and a bunch of people figured it out. So no one's figured out how to actually do it yet. How to figure out what those combinations are supposed to be.
How you were meant to legitimately get to the combination rather than just doing.
Yeah, and it seems like that could be just what you just asked. It could be that key, that thing that you just read. It could be that. That could be
The full
simple as just a map to that. Yeah, yeah. Or it could be another exotic, or it could be like we have no idea.
I'll say this: it's the first bit of Destiny content I've ever needed a fucking spreadsheet for. I've been sent 2 different versions of Google documents to be able to do that. Here's the thing, here's the look up the other thing, and here's the this.
It's so
and
fun though, like reading it as a team, like you're reading it and you're like, oh yeah, that's a blue 7 or whatever. Super fun.
I think we discovered that.
Yet? Do we have any?
That's all numbers, Matt. I kept just doing the bingo,
yeah, it's literally like you're playing
legs 11 and you can bring out all that shit. That and Sass has a habit of just reading the numbers around the wrong way. So I think he's got like undiagnosed dyslexia or something.
we were like 3 away from finishing it, and I kept reading the right one first. And Aslan, who's in chat, kept saying like, dude, that's not right. And I was like, oh, and I realized I completely swapped them. Like, and it happened like 3 times in a row. I was losing my mind.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's so repetitive that you get lulled into that kind of half concentration of, I think it's this, and then as well, good.
Right.
Holy shit! I think we've talked ourselves to a standstill.
I think we have. Ninjyy, thanks for coming on, man. I know it was 30 minutes after you woke up and you've had to sit through our lore and my bullshit and doom and gloom and Destiny and all that sort of thing. But thank you very much for coming on the cast, man. It's really, really cool.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. As always, it was a blast.
Guys, if you're not following Ninjyy, twitch.tv/Ninjyy, Ninjyy. And if you want to follow him on Twitter, it's Ninjyy. He's really cool. He's a cool dude. Very chill and very, very knowledgeable about Destiny and many, many other things. He's good people. Thank you very much for coming on. If we've missed anything, guys, if we've missed anything,
stick it in your pipe and smoke it.
if we've missed anything, or you want to add to the conversation, Twitter at DDU_podcast. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, there's the thing there. If you want to follow us on YouTube, same. We upload once a week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You won't receive any notifications because YouTube is completely fucked.
You may well.
But we do upload on Saturday. You might receive a notification, you might not. I haven't received one yet.
Live in fear.
Live in fear. And to our audio-only listeners, for your continued patronage. And special thank you to Chookie Wookie, who's been sitting in chat giving me shit and giving the rest of us shit and talking about back sweat and how hot it is. But thank you for gifting the subs to the Twitch channel. It helps us pay for our audio stuff and some upcoming events that Log may or may not have plans. Thank you.
It also
very
helps
much,
us pay
guys.
for Mylan's plastic surgery to fix up his fucked up eyebrow.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that next week.
Mate, you can't even tell. Yeah, I can't even tell my face was
You
covered.
got fucking mean as fuck thick eyebrows though. Like you could have just stitched it shut with your own eyebrow hair and no one would ever even know.
Fucking John Howard eyebrows, mate. Ladies
Serious
and gentlemen,
brows.
we have been the Destiny Down Under podcast. Thank you very much, Ninjyy, for coming on, and we'll catch you guys next week, eh?
Just
Hey?
All right.
you know what, Matt?
Yeah.
The raid will find you.
The raid will
find you. It will.
With a bunch of sorrow, with a, what did you call it? A sad hat.
Yeah. Sad hat raid. Oh,
Stand by for a raid, guys.
all the best in World's First Ninja. I know that in a completely unbiased way, I know who I'll be going for. All right. All right, we're going to raid into Holtz. See you next week. Peace.
Hey up.
I can't find the... There we go.